Hello and welcome to the Publisher Spotlights portion of your Brodart Collection Connection. I'm so excited to be with you all today, and let's get started. I have the best of the small presses, so hang on and let's get started with Beaming Books. Beaming Books is a lovely publisher that's doing some amazing work, and I'm especially pleased with Wani Natsu Lancason and Trisha B. Waters' Grandmother Moon. This is a beautiful story that is very much grounded in the personal experience of these two creators who are both tribally affiliated. And if you take a look at these illustrations, you'll see how gorgeous they are. But a little girl is asking her grandmother, why is the moon following us? What is the story of the moon? Her grandmother shares her stories. And while these are not like the official legends and mythology, these are the stories that are from her grandmother. So they are authentic to her own personal experience. And I just love the way that the relationship is depicted here in these illustrations. And also that it's a contemporary story. We don't have as many contemporary stories that feature indigenous peoples. And this is such a lovely way to do it. And very, very cool. Did you know that turtles have 13 little boxes on their backs, and that's a way to think 13 different boxes that's a way to talk about the different moons. And there is great back matter here that tells you about the moon calendar as revealed in the turtles. So lovely things. Sometimes when I'm doing presentations, I'll say let's play a drinking game. Whenever I say great back matter, feel free to take a drink. But this is Grandmother Moon by Wani Natsu Lancason and Trisha B. Waters from Beaming Books. Next up, there's so many great books about solstices, right? And this seems to be a thing that we're looking for more and more. And this is a lovely story about two trees that are having a conversation about which one's going to be the tree of the year. And the little tree really would love to do that. And then there's an ancient one that's kind of bent, has never been picked, and would love to be picked someday. So as the people come in and they're getting ready to have their celebration, the trees are talking about who's going to be picked and how cool it would be to be the one that is selected. And then a little girl has a wonderful idea to pick both trees. So the beautiful thing I love about this is that they leave them in the forest. They are not cut down. These are trees that are decorated where they are. And then the whole community gathers around for the celebration. And a lovely author's note is in the back matter. So that is the littlest solstice tree. Next up, One Can Be. This is by Pat Zietlow Miller, illustrated by Annie Crone. Pat Zietlow Miller, you probably remember from Be Kind, which is a book I think everybody really needs to internalize right now. So this is One Can Be. It's a celebration of people who are not maybe the most extroverted in the world, but are introverts who love books and love the community that books can build. So this is a girl who is just happy being by herself and occasionally being with other people too. And then finding that when she goes inside a book, she is in a place that she loves and is safe. And then when she wants to share those books, it's even better, and the community comes together to build a little free library. How wonderful is that? And here it is. Here's that little free library. And it's just a wonderful celebration of community in the book community. So as I said, Pat Zietlow Miller has been winning lots of great accolades. And I just think this art is absolutely divine. And what a great celebration of the written word. Next, we have Two List Thanksgiving. So this is about two communities, two cultures coming together in a family. And here you have their Thanksgiving list. They have the list of the more traditional, what we think of as the traditional Thanksgiving dinner, and then a Korean celebration, harvest celebration, which Chuseok is what the name for the Korean harvest celebration. So they go to the Korean grocery store, they get their things, they see all the different kinds of products that are there, and they go home and they fix the food for both sides of the family. And then what I love here is how everyone is trying everything, and it may not always be what they expect, but they can have a good laugh about it, and they can enjoy it together, which is really lovely. And of course, great back matter and recipes. So how much fun is that? That is Two List Thanksgiving. Our next publisher is Barefoot Books. Step inside a story, and we're in Williamsport, right? The home of the Little League World Series and so much baseball lore. So I had to celebrate this book. It does have the song, but it also has lots of great baseball facts. So if you're doing a baseball-centric kind of story time, or have a collection that really, kids love books about sports, right? Then this is a perfect book for you, and it does include music and has lots of great facts. So yes, great back matter, and Barefoot always does such a good job with their back matter. It just is so attractive and interesting, and lots of different angles to explore. Next, we have Quisi and Nani Ruby learn to swim. So this is a story that is more than it looks like at first glance. So this is, yes, a story about a little boy who learns how to swim, but he is afraid to learn how to swim, and he's talking to his grandma about it, and she never learned how to swim because when she was growing up in Africa, the pools were segregated, and so she was not allowed to learn how to swim. And he talks to her about that and learns about that experience. And then she invokes the spirit of Nanawati, Mami Wata. And Mami Wata is a beautiful sea spirit who is a really source of inspiration for the two to really try to explore the water together and learn how to swim. And it's just a wonderful reclamation of that story, and then using that to empower them to do something that they may have been afraid to do beforehand. And fantastic information. This is a book very much set from Ghana, and as you can see, the back matter is fantastic. So next up, we have Of the Sun, A Poem for the Land's First Peoples. This is by Zelina Gonzalez, who is everywhere right now, right? She's so amazing. And so Zelina Gonzalez, this is a story that Barefoot has had this manuscript for a little while, and they're waiting for just the right illustrator. And they found it, Emily Kiwageshig. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And as you can see, this is a celebration of Indigenous peoples and their birth stories and where they come from and their connection to the land. And it is absolutely gorgeous and stunning and inclusive in all the best ways. So, and you can see here at the back, we've got this fantastic back matter that shows where the different peoples that they're talking about in the story come from. And I love the specificity that I think that's really super important. So this is Of the Sun, A Poem for the Land's First Peoples, again from Barefoot. Remembering Candle is from Alison Goldberg, and this is the Yahrzeit. So this is a candle that is lit and burns for 24 hours. So when somebody passes, it's a time to really focus on that person. Think about the memories you share, things that were important to that person, maybe walk in their footsteps a little bit. And it's such a lovely tradition. This comes out very much from the Jewish tradition, but I think anybody can learn from this and experience it and want to celebrate someone's life in this way. And then we have lots of great information about Yahrzeit in the back, as well as other Jewish memorial traditions. So that is from Barefoot. Alison Goldberg did 18 candles for grandma, 18 flowers for grandma about chai. And it's just another lovely book that won lots of great awards last year. So yeah, she's one to watch. So do you remember a few years ago when everybody was talking about whale falls? Well, this is the year of the nurse log. So here we have a tree, a mighty oak that has fallen in the forest, and all the ways it contributes to the ecosystem where it has fallen. And of course, the art is just absolutely stunning. And then we have narrative informational fiction to tell us the story of this particular tree. But then we have lots of great information that is very STEM oriented for those kids who just love to learn facts. And then, of course, we've got the tree ring here in the back. And I can tell you, I learned stuff from this book. Fantastic. And great back matter. So the author is the founding director of City Wild, which helps kids connect with nature, even when they live in the city, which is just a lovely idea. So there we go. And then we have Some Days I'm the Wind. This is by Rebecca Garden Lovington, who did Tomorrow Always Comes, which is just a beautiful story. And this is about just understanding that you're going to go through a lot of different emotions, and it may all be in the same day. And it may be, that you have an entire day where you're feeling a certain way. And emotions aren't good or bad. They just are. And you have to understand that and appreciate that and work through that. So this is just a lovely story about embracing those emotions and then how to explore them and how to read them in other people. Great back matter, again, from Barefoot Books. I feel like this Feelings Faces exercise could be useful for lots of people. And that is Some Days I'm the Wind, and there is an audiobook associated with this as well. So that is amazing, and I love it when they do that. Next up, we have Rise Up, Powerful Protests in American History. This is from Barefoot Books. This just came out. Did you know this is the semi-quincentennial of the American Revolution? A couple weeks ago, they were celebrating the 250th anniversary of the shot heard around the world in Concord, Massachusetts. And Barefoot's way of honoring that is to look at different protests throughout American history. And yes, the Boston Tea Party is certainly one of those, but there are other ones as well that they look at. And I think that we can all learn from that. This is a great model for today as well, as we can think about ways that we can express how we feel that things should be going. And this is just really well done, and it's done with this gorgeous lyrical content, but then lots of great other information, additional sidebars and back matter that can be totally useful, and including this timeline of events of all the different things that are included in the book. So there you go. Fantastic back matter. Yes, thank you. Rise Up, Powerful Protests in American History. Next up from Tiger Tales, we have The Big Day. So this is a giant celebration of love. It says so right there. And what we have here is a wedding and of fantastical creatures who are invited from all the different, all the different favorite fantasy things. And you can see here's the invitation and what kinds of, they got to get the food ready, they got to get the place ready. You can see the different people who are coming to it. Gosh, I love giant Aunt Clara. So this is definitely giants who are getting married here. And I love the fact that it is two men giants who are getting married, and that is just, who it is. It's very normal, and except for the fact that they are very large. So much fun, and the reception was lovely. The food was delicious and served in ginormous truck tire sized dishes. So really fun to read aloud. Lots of elements of the wedding explored here. So for anybody who's getting ready to have a wedding and wants to help their kids understand what the different elements are that go into it, this would be a great book for that too. And it's also in time for Pride Month, which is nice. So that is The Big Day, a giant celebration of love from Tiger Tales. Next up, we have Mr. Norton's New Hat. This is a wonderful cumulative tale, which is perfect for story time. So one morning, Monday morning, Horace Norton found that a mouse had made a house in his hat. Now, this was something of a surprise, but Mr. Norton was a kind man. He didn't want to disturb it, so he went out to work all the same with a house in his hat. And as you can see, it builds and builds and builds, and it's got this wonderful rhyming structure. And at the end, there are so many animals living in his hat, in his bag, in his jacket, in his pockets, everywhere, that he just has had enough. So he says that, and all the animals are a little bit shocked because he's such a nice man, but they all come together and they get him a new hat because his other hat was no longer fit to be worn, and he figures out a new way to get all those animals together with him. So I just think this is a fun story, and Mr. Norton as a character is going to be coming back in more stories. So perfect for read aloud. No more Mr. Mice Guy. So I want you to imagine the most incredibly fluorescent neon green you can, and that is the green on Mr. Mice Guy. So what we have here is a Jekyll and Hyde story with a mouse perspective. There you can see the slime that gets built, and the mouse ends up enjoying a little bit of that slime, and before you know it, he has grown into this huge monster. And he's terrifying, and kids are going to be really all about this little scary, creepy Hyde-like monster who devours everything and scares people, and then eventually he turns back into himself, and it is all good. So a really fun Halloween type story. It's a safe, scary story, but it does not mention Halloween anywhere in it. So there you go. Squirrel and Bird. Oh, this is such a beautiful book. So this is a story of an unusual friendship, or actually maybe it's a usual friendship where one of them is much more outgoing than the other, and they learned how to appreciate each other. What I love here is that when they do have that inevitable falling out, which is going to happen because it's a book, they do such a lovely job of appreciating each other and thinking about the strengths they each bring to their friendship, that it's a wonderful model for kids who are navigating friendships themselves. And I think you'll agree with me, this art is so beautiful. I love how Bird is a lot of things: quiet, confident, calm, a thinker, performer. Squirrel is too loud, excitable, doer, listener, shy, etc. It's just embracing all the different things you are and learning how to be together and enjoy each other for the different qualities that make you up. So just fantastic story, and it's also got really good book feel. As the World Goes By is from Johnny Lambert. We all love Johnny Lambert. I love his art style. And this is about noticing, taking a moment to see the world around you. So here's this cute little dog. He sees this blue butterfly, follows the little blue butterfly. He's just amazed at how wonderful it is, and realizes that nobody else is noticing this beautiful blue butterfly. And what's that about? And oh my gosh, they almost ran over it. So they figure out that they gotta save it. So this little dog tells everyone to stop and take a moment and look at the beauty around you, and specifically at the beauty in front of your nose. So it's just a lovely story, and everyone does stop and they do see this beautiful butterfly perched on the little puppy's nose. It's just a lovely story. And you can see some other ones here from Johnny Lambert as well, Waiting for the Stars, Can You Share a Little Whale, Little Why, and so many more. So we also have Stop That Witch, which is, we got this detective dog who's going to stop the witch. Gosh, you can think of a read-alike for this one. Yeah, for fans of the Catch That series, this is a logical next step. And there's all the different usual characters. Stop That Witch, there's a Stop That Santa. I think I've got some pictures of that one coming up here. Yeah, here we go. Stop That Santa. And they're always catching up with it, solving the mysteries. It's all fun. So much fun in games. So, and this is from Alistair Heim, who's done so many books that have done really well and even been on the New York Times bestseller list. So there you go. We have a new Hank book. Yay! So do you remember the Angry Bluebird pictures? I know I used to see those all the time. I feel like Frank, who is this little bluebird, is kind of that angry bluebird. So everyone thinks he's so sweet. Everybody loves Frank. Tweet, tweet. Cousin Frank is as sweet as pie, cute as a button, such a little honey bun. Hank is not convinced. So, as you can see, Frank and Hank are not getting along well, and they have to work through this relationship. And they do eventually, and it is so much fun. This is such a great read aloud. All these Hank books do. I think Maudie Paltuck and Duncan Beatty have done such a fabulous job of creating these characters and making them memorable and distinctive, and somebody you want to check in with again and again. So we have Hank Goes Honk. We have a board book, Hank Goes Peck, which does have little cutouts where Hank has clearly been pecking the book. And then this new one, Hank Meets Frank. And guess what? There is actually some plush to go along with this, which is amazing. So from Nubie Ocho, we've got Banana Now. So think of this as DoorDash in the jungle. We have this really creative little primate who decides that he wants to help. He's got this business idea to help everyone get the food they want. So they all go on the internet, as they do on their phones, etc., to order up their food, and he delivers, which works beautifully. And he's doing so well, and everyone's really, really super enjoying. He's racking in the money. And then one day, somebody calls in and wants him for their dinner, and he is not having that. So he decides he is not going to be doing that, and they can just get their own dinner from now on. So, and they'll just all enjoy it. So there you go. It's Banana Now in English and Telebanana in Spanish. So That Time I Turned Into a Worm. This is by Gomez, who is one of my favorite author illustrators that Nubie Ocho works with. And just a reminder, Nubie Ocho, all the books they do in English, they also do in Spanish, and it is done in Latino Spanish, which is perfect for the U.S. market. Here we have this little girl who suddenly turned into a worm, and then there are ways that you, the reader, can help her turn back into a little girl again. So this is a very interactive book that the kids work through and can solve the mysteries. I could see this being a great program for like a kindergarten, first grade, as they all work together to figure out how to turn her back into a little girl. And spoiler alert, she does become a little girl again at the end. Yay! So there she is. She's a girl again. Hurrah! Cuando me convertí en lombriz is what it is in Spanish. So this is the same person did I'm a Scary Vampire. So Pee and Pooh, the do's and don'ts to avoid mishaps. So Pee and Pooh, and also it's very funny in Spanish. So this is actually nonfiction or informational fiction, because there is a story here about everything that goes along with going to the bathroom wherever you are, and maybe not wherever you are, at the appropriate place. And the protocol and etiquette that goes along with that. And you'd think, do you really need a book about that? You know, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. So that is in the Spanish Caco Pedo piece. I mean, that's pretty hilarious, right? So we have it in both languages, and we're very excited to have it. It's from Susana Isern, who's done so many books with them, as well as other publishers as well, and really fun illustrations too from Mar Ferreira. So Martina the Soccer Star. This is about a girl who wants to play soccer, which is not that unusual anymore, but in this case, there is no girls' soccer team. How did that happen? And the boys don't want her to play, but she really sticks to it, and turns out she's an amazing player, but not only is she an amazing player, but she's an amazing playmaker. So she is able to get the team to work together as a team, and everyone figures out, you know what, she's okay. Maybe girls can play soccer and coach soccer and help us be a better team, be a captain. So this is Martina the Soccer Star, or Martina Futbolista, which is really, really fun in Spanish. And this is part of an ongoing series. The next one that's coming up, just here's a little sneak preview, is Vera the Astronaut. So stay tuned for that. with this beautiful picture book biography of Luisa Capetillo. This is also by Susanna Isern, and this is about a girl who grew up in late 19th, early 20th century, Puerto Rico, and she was not wanting to do the things all the other girls did. You can see everyone else is doing their samplers, and she is not excited about this. She would much rather go outside, read a book, let her imagination wander. And she thinks about all the things that everyone else does, and that she's also thinking about how uncomfortable it is to be wearing skirts when you're walking through the jungle. Puerto Rico, certain parts of the island, it's very hard to get through if you're wearing a skirt. So she makes herself some pants. And you know what? She is actually fined for that. It's illegal. So she goes to the court and she sues for the right to be able to wear pants, and she wins. So Luisa Capetillo actually she grew up to be an activist and on behalf of women and labor rights, and a very influential person in Puerto Rican history, and I think somebody we can all learn from. I think this illustrator too is just amazing, and I can't wait. This is her first time to illustrate, and I think she's off to a very, very nice career. So The Girl Who Wore Pants, Los Pantalones de Luisa. Next up from Red Comet Press, we've got The Traveling Taco, The Amazing and Surprising Journey of Many of Your Favorite Foods. So this is by Mia Wengen, who did Food for the Future. She's also got a book coming out this next season on fortune cookies, and this is some of the favorite foods that we all enjoy and where they originated, and often it is not the story we thought they were going to be. So it's just really fascinating, interesting information. Fun fact, Mia Wengen is the Pragmatic Mom blog. She is the person that created that, and is also one of the co-founders of Multicultural Children's Book Day, which is now called Read Your World. So if you don't know about that, be sure to check them out online and on all the places. But so many favorite foods explaining here with rhyming text and lots of facts, and great pet matter. So Charlie Mouse Cleans House. This is from Red Comet Press, and we have here this very, very cute little mouse who is just going to all the different fairy tale places and helping everyone clean up their homes. So she's just very tidy and orderly, and the illustrations are so charming, and she's so sweet. I mean, this feels very retro in the best sense, and the color palette is so attractive, and you can have all these little stories that are happening, so it's kind of a seek and find as well. Very interactive, so much to discover in every page. This is a perfect book for a kid who just loves to sit and take in the illustrations and examine them over and over again. Something to discover every time you look at it. Dear New Friend is from Terene Matlub and Alida Masari. And Terene, this is her first book, and she's a professor actually in Iowa, but she's originally from Iran. And this is a story, at the heart of the story is Persian hospitality. It's just the welcoming spirit of people from that culture. And here's a kid in Persia who is thinking about, if I had a pen pal, this is what I would do. This is what I would say to them. This is what I would invite them to do. And it's a wonderful, wonderful story. And this is the pen pal. So you can see how that relationship unfurls, and they can have these wonderful adventures together. And it's just a lovely, lovely story. And it also has great book feel. Really, really lovely. A Surprise in the Wood is a story about adoption. So these two bears would love to have children, but they can't. But as they're walking through the woods, they come across this goldfish in a bowl. And they take it home, and they decide they're going to adopt it. And they realize that they're not really equipped to do that. They're going to have to make some accommodations for this. And they're going to have to figure out a way to make the fish comfortable in their environment, and they're going to be comfortable in the fish's environment. So this is a story about meeting people where they are and bringing them into your lives, even though it may be a complicated journey. So they decide to go and put on their scuba gear and go where the actual fish can be free and do the things that a fish does. And it's just a lovely, lovely story. This is a really interesting story that was developed by parents who adopted a child with this debilitating genetic disease. And the proceeds from the sale of the book, a portion of the proceeds are going to go to help support research into that specific disease. And it's, again, great book feel. Red Comet really pays attention to just how a book feels, and the paper and the illustrations are just printed on such it's so rich, and just a lovely reading experience, sharing experience. Downpour is a fun book. So this is for those toddler story times, and those when you've got, or maybe you have an age range from babies up through age 3 or 4. And it's a celebration of when the rain comes and all the sounds it makes. And this is so much fun. I can just imagine getting all the kids to join you in the plip, 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 plip. It's raining, the drops are big, and thinking through it. And this yellow is so bright and lovely and just pops off the page. And it's like a little ray of sunshine while you're actually reading the book, which is not a bad thing. So this is the perfect rainy day story. And I think that you can see the joy that comes in being in the rain. And I love how it even goes through after the rain, when you can see everything is kind of still draining, and the water is still there, but the sun is coming out. And sometimes you want the rain to be there when it isn't there. So you know what? You can always turn on the shower. Bring your bright yellow umbrella. And from Postwave Books, we have Egg, 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 which is a beautiful board book with great cutouts. This is a very sturdy book. This is a new publisher to the U.S. They're from the U.K. originally, and we're so excited to have them here. Banana, Banana, Banana is coming up next. And as you can see, this is just delightful, warm like sunshine in my tummy. Sometimes when I spoon them in, drip, 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 run down my chin. I love this celebration of all things eggs. And of course, it doesn't say that you have to take out a mortgage now to buy them, but you know what? There are still things. Sarah Finnan is a British designer, and she won the Klaus Fluga Prize, which is for somebody who is a debut illustrator or picture book creator. So this is a book that's already gotten some starred reviews. Pencil's best story ever. Pencil is very excited to write the best story ever and is working on that when the characters get out of hand. And I can see this is a great book to use when you're trying to explain how stories work, but it's also just fun to read on its own without looking at how stories work. That's just something you learn along the way, which is how the best books work, isn't it? So you can see how Pencil is trying to rein everybody in, but nope, they don't have any part of that. So much fun. It's a lovely celebration of creativity and writing and resilience. And this illustrator won big prizes at the 2024 Bologna Children's Book Fair Illustrators Exhibit. So that's cool. Dog's Tale, the story of a little dog with a big imagination. So Kiko is, yes, a mononym author, illustrator from Paris, from France. And this is about this little pug with an eye patch, one-eyed Jack, who tells a story about when he fell overboard from a ship and he was carried by a whale to an island of elephants and all the things that happened to him there. This is such a tall tale, and it is hilarious. It's told in this graphic format, which I think this graphic storytelling format, which is so popular these days, and the illustrations are delicate and lovely and very, very, very funny when you take a chance to really look at them. So this is a book that'll make kids laugh, and there is a place for that right now. Now, for those kids who are really fascinated with nonfiction and weird animals, the jellyfish, I'm not a fan of jellyfish, or I wasn't until I read this book. I certainly do not want to encounter one in the wild when it might sting me, but boy, they're beautiful, aren't they? They're so interesting and fascinating. And how do they work? How do they swim? Where's their brain? Where are other things that are, you see in other animals? So this is a fascinating explanation of everything about jellyfish, and I think that and it also has great book feel. So check it out. This is The Jellyfish Garden, Explore the Curious World. I feel like Postwave Children's Books is doing some amazing nonfiction books right now, including Bridges. So that's a bridge that is actually in this country. So this covers bridges from 50 places around the world. And if you've ever been fascinated with how they work and how they're built and the ideas behind them, this is the book for you. And there are kids who will find that incredibly fascinating. This adult found it incredibly fascinating too. Love bridges. And I like the way that it's using different text types throughout the book. So for the kids who want big blocks of text, there's that. If there's some who want graphic nonfiction storytelling, then we've got that too. So that is Bridges by Magda Gurglova and Jacob Batrick. And then lastly, The Ordinary Life of Jacqueminus Gainsborough. Oh, this is such a beautiful book by Rebecca Dautremé. I saw this originally in Bologna 2 years ago, and I just completely fell in love with this little bunny. I mean, come on, how cute is he? Oh my goodness. So he has a little accident when he's a little bunny, and he has to walk with a crutch for the rest of his life. But it's a wonderful, rich life. He has so many wonderful experiences. He meets interesting people. And I just think that in the illustrations, there's a tip of the hat to some famous works of art along the way, which is a little reward for people who know that. And then also for the kids when they find them later. Here are some of the people that Jacqueminus Gainsborough met along the way, and you feel like every one of these people has a story and he deserves their own book, and I hope that she does it. So this is a book to treasure and just spend time with. Again, fantastic book feel. And that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for letting me tell you about these amazing books from these wonderful small presses. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, ellen@publisherspotlight.com, at the number there, and follow us at Pub Spotlight on Blue Sky, Instagram, all the places, and we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.